Dr. Kalu is a medical doctor and chief surgeon. He is the chief medical director of the General Hospital. He is married to his wife Ada and they have 3 kids. He is somewhat indispensable to the hospital because no operation goes on without him being involved, no matter the emergency. Dr. Kalu never jokes with his job. He is always on ground. He is a very busy man. He never has the time to rest nor spend with his family. Daily, he goes to work early and returns late. Sometimes, after returning home, he receives emergency calls that take him out again. His official driver, who normally comes to pick and drop him no matter the time, is always on standby. Dr. Kalu hardly has the time to eat. His wife gets up very early to make him breakfast, but he barely sips the tea and dashes out again with the words, "I'll see you later, darling. They need me at the hospital." And when he returns, he mostly dozes off with his shoes still on. That's how tired he gets. Even though they live in the same house, his kids rarely gets to see him as they are always asleep when he goes out or when he comes in. Now, normally, the wife ought to be proud that her husband is hardworking and rich, but Ada isn't happy because they never get time to spend together as a family. She asked him one night, "Must you go to work every day? Why can't you delegate?" And he replied, "If I do not go to work one day, the hospital will shut down. A lot of patients will die and there's no one capable of stepping in my shoes." She sighed, and before he left for work that morning, she quickly asked his driver, "Is it true that if my husband doesn't go to work only for one day, the hospital will shut down?" The driver swiftly replied, "Yes, madam. Your husband is a very important man." One fateful day, as Dr. Kalu was peeping through one of the new microscopes in his office, he slumped, but before they could lift him onto the bed, Dr. Kalu had passed on. A lot of people, more than expected, even those never seen before, visited and condoled with Mrs. Kalu. Some weeks after, during the funeral, she spotted the driver. She was curious, so she quietly asked him if the hospital was shut down already. But the driver gave no definite reply and he stylishly walked away. After the funeral, she had to go to her husband's office to take his personal belongings. It was then she discovered that someone else was already being appointed as the new chief medical director, occupying his same office. And in fact, the new chief medical director had been appointed the very next day after Dr. Kalu died. Now see, nobody is indispensable, no matter how important you think you are. Always create time for enjoyment because time for sorrow creates itself. Keep these things in mind until I come your way next time. Remember,